Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'm going to work on my juniper that I got from Joey, and I'm training this tree with clip and grow. Here is a look at the tree. I last pruned this tree in June of 2023, thinning it all out, keeping the branches I wanted, and you can see it's really filled in now. I'll show you some images of it from last year, before and after the pruning. And today I'll be pruning it and thinning it once again. I'm going to begin the pruning today with this cascade branch, trying to get it a little more flowing. Right now it cascades down and then all the foliage has gone vertical on it. So I'm going to prune off a lot of the vertical foliage, keeping my sweeping cascade lines. There's no point making it deadwood because you'd still have this branch dividing to two and then a third deadwood piece. So I'm going to do a flush cut. So here I go. I will come in from above here and prune. Now there is a bud back there, so I'll leave that intact. There's a little bud in there. So that takes that branch off, and hopefully now it looks a little more flowing. I've certainly taken a lot of foliage off, and I wouldn't want to take any more than that off, or you're starting to risk the vigor of the tree. I think there's enough on here that the tree will recover just fine and begin growing once again like nothing happened. I'm training this tree to look like a wind-blown mountaintop juniper. The wind's blowing in this direction, so everything on this side of the tree grows a little more sparsely, and everything on the trailing side grows long and fuller. So it gives you that real impression of feeling the wind. I'm going to start the pruning on this cascade branch. So you can see I've got two branches down below, and the one branch is growing underneath this upper branch. So I need to shorten the upper branch and get light to this bottom branch, and you can see the bottom branch is thinner than the one above. So I've got to take vigor out of the upper branch and increase vigor in the lower branch. So by pruning the upper branch, I'll get more light to the lower branch, and I'll also reduce the vigor in this upper branch. So eventually, this lower branch thickens up more than this upper one. I'm going to begin the pruning now, so I need to see what's growing on the bottom. It's not too bad. There is some vertical growth I can prune away. Like that. I do want to have some separation between these two branches. Right now they're kind of squished together. And then this upper branch, I want to shorten it, and I've got to look for a good place to shorten it. I have some good growth back here, so I could take the entire tip off. So here I go. Big cut coming up. That is gone. So you can see now this branch is starting to get light, and this one's reduced back in vigor. So I'm going to prune away on this branch. There's one growing back towards into the wind. I'm going to prune that back, and I think I'll just take the tip off. There's a shoot that's kind of going with the wind, and I think I will take this one right off. It's going into the wind. There's a bud here I can remove. So that's got this upper branch thinned quite nicely. All the branches are going in a good direction. I've left there's another branch here that's going to continue the line of the trunk, which is quite nice. Yeah, I think that's good for that branch. So now the lower branch here, I also want to remove, this vertical growth. Taking that off. There's one growing in towards the wind. Take that off. I can take this vertical part off. Flattening out the branches to get light to the ones I want to grow. I'm going to take the tip off here. It's getting a little too upright. This branch is looking good. There's a vertical part here that I could take out. Flattening that branch out. there's a tip here that's getting too long. There's a vertical branch here I can remove. And I'll show you this from above. There's a bar branch here, and this one's crossing the branch below it, so I'll take that out. This one's going into the wind. Take the tip off that branch. There's a vertical part here I can take out. And then on this branch, I've got a good horizontal one. I think I'll take this whole upper part off. Really flattening that branch out. There's a vertical part here I can take out. And there's one growing in here I don't want at all. Really giving that branch some good light. And there's a branch here growing across over top of this one that I need to take out. Yeah, I think everything's looking good now. I'll show you a different view of that branch. Here's that branch from above, so you can see how I flattened the branches out, given them sunlight, and got them, directionally pruned so they're going with the wind. So I think that's looking good. It's going to develop nicely, that branch, that cascading branch. Here's a look at the tree now with that lower branch thinned out. So I've got to do the same for all these other branches, flattening them out, removing growth that's coming back into the wind. So here I have some vertical growth I can remove. There's some more vertical growth here I can remove. And then on this branch tip, there's a vertical part here that can be removed. And here. That flattens that branch out. There's some growth, some new growth in here that I think I'll leave for now. I could prune it away, but it's not doing any harm, so I'll leave it. I'll prune this branch next, so I've got some vertical growth here I can snip out. And here. And here. There's some vertical growth here that can come out. And then this back part of it, some vertical growth here I can remove. Here. Snip the tip off there. There's some vertical growth back in here I can remove. Starting to flatten this branch out. I think I'll take this upper part off here. And there's a branch back here with one sticking up that I can remove. If I can get to it. Right here. There's some buds facing inwards I'm going to remove. So that's got that branch flattened out. There's one here I'm going to flatten out also. Again, that flattens that branch out quite nicely. There's a bit of clutter in there. I may have to thin it. I've got probably too many branches in this area. So once I've got all the basic pruning done, I might come back and have a look at the tree and adjust the styling. If the branches get light, they stay vigorous. If they get shaded out, they wither away and die. Okay, let's look at this back section now, deal with that. So I'll rotate the tree around and I'll start pruning these branches up. So again, any vertical growth I can just prune away. And all these little branches, they'll thicken up eventually. I'm going to take this one out also. A little more thinning. Yeah, all these little branches, they'll be thicken up and become woody someday. So here I've got a case, I've got a nice cascading lower branch and then an upper part, so I'm going to take off the upper part. Keeping my cascading branch, move all this vertical growth off of it. Prune back to a cascading branch, taking the tip off there. That cleans that up nicely. There is a branch growing in here I've got to remove. It's at the base of another branch. Thin that out. That's getting this area sorted out. It's definitely getting good light to the branches that I want. So there's a look at that section. You can see it's a lot thinner. Now I still have to prune this branch coming out the front. So I've got a branch that comes back into the wind. I'm going to prune that away. And then I've got some vertical growth on that branch I can prune away. And you've just got to look at the structure of each of these branches and decide, you know, just like pruning a deciduous tree. You want one branch dividing to two, you want light going to all your branches. Take that tip off. So that flattens that out. And then I've got one down here. That's kind of a hanging branch. I've got to decide, do I want that? It's kind of interesting. Otherwise, you know, you can see this part of the tree really clearly. It kind of creates a pad there, which is quite nice. So I think I will keep it. But I will remove this branch so it's getting light. And then anything growing inwards or into the wind, I'll prune away. So that branch is kind of protected from the wind by the trunk, so it's got to look like it's growing in a little pocket away from the wind there. And then do I want it looking wind blown? Like as if it's over here? I don't know. I think I'm just going to flatten it out for now and see how it goes for the future. Like that, kind of flattening it out. So it has some branches going into the wind, but I think that looks okay. Maybe they're a little long. I could prune this one away. Yeah, it just gives some foliage there coming out front. And maybe, you know, eventually it'll get wind blown. So it looks like it was growing in the pocket out of the wind, and then it started growing and then the wind caught it, and it'll eventually go down. So, sort of a cascade branch. Now I talked about the apex of this tree, that, you know, the trunk line comes up here and I had this branch that kind of continues the trunk line, which is quite nice. However, I do want it to look wind blown, so I'm going to remove all this growth that's going into the wind. Again, kind of flattening the branches out, getting light to all the parts I want to grow. Okay, so we're getting into some branches here that are kind of growing into the wind. So I want to keep them, but I want them to look wind blown. So I'm pruning to the parts that are going into the wind. I'm pruning away, keeping it sort of like a wind-blown style branch. Take the tip off there. And there's a vertical part I can take off here. I'm back in the front view now. So I'm looking at these branches. You can see this branch, it comes out and then it kind of starts to curl back. So I'll keep that theme. Pruning away branches going into the wind. So I want foliage here. It's just got to look like it's battered by the wind and stunted. Very compact. There's a few little shoots in here I can remove. Again, to get air and light into these branches to keep them healthy. Tough decisions up there. Let's start on this lower branch now. So again, my goal on this lower branch is to, look like it's being hammered by the wind, and it'll eventually grow. Maybe crossing the trunk line, I don't know. It'll certainly go behind and fill in this area. As for crossing the trunk line, I'm not sure. I think I do like, the trunk line broken up a bit. So I think I will keep this tough. I'll remove the vertical growth on it. Kind of flattening it out like that. I think that looks good. And then I've got a shoot here. Again, I don't want this growth going into the wind. Now, should I remove this upper part is the question. I think so. Really flattening that branch out. Like that. You can see some of the old needles back here starting to fall off. You can pluck those out with tweezers if you want. Yeah, so that's definitely got this branch thinned and flattened out, looking a little more windblown. Now off of that branch I have this part of it, and I'm going to prune the tip off. Again, keeping it more of a windblown branch. So there's a few branches coming off it that are blowing with the wind, which is nice. Okay, so that's got that branch kind of sorted out a bit. I've still got, I think I want to take these ones off, shorten that apex a bit. Yeah, more like that. And then there's one hanging down here. Do I want that? I don't think so. It looks a bit strange. There. There's another one hanging down here I can remove. Like that. Okay, so that's got this front branch sorted. Let's rotate around and do these back ones. So here's kind of looking down on these branches. So again, branches going into the wind will get pruned away in favor of wind-blown branches. This branch I want to grow back behind the trunk. So I think, the part I think the part that's sticking out the front I want to get rid of. And I'm wondering about this branch, if I want to take it right off. It's growing at the base of this branch here. It's a tough decision. I'll have to look at it from the front. It really thins out that section of the tree if I take it off. So maybe I'll keep it. And maybe, at the end of the day I'll look at the styling of the tree and decide if it needs to come off or not. I don't like this branch. I'm going to remove it. I don't think I need this one either. There, that sorts that branch out quite nicely. Now this one. There's a little branch here I'm going to take out. And I'm wondering if I should develop more of this cascade one and take this whole upper part off. Tough call. I'll leave it on for now. So I'm slowly getting these branches sorted out. Okay, let's have a look at the front of the tree. Check how this styling is going. I'm stepping back, having a look at the tree now. I think it's improved. It looks more mature with the branches kind of flattened out like that. Now I'm wondering about the apex. It's still quite confusing up there. There's a lot of kind of clutter up here. You can't really see distinct branches or anything. I think a little thinning in the apex. I think it's just a little too full. After pruning the juniper, I like to see, be able to see the entire branch structure. I'm going to take that one out. Not have a jumbled mess of branches. And I'm going to take this one out. I wonder if that should go, this branch here. I don't think that would hurt to get rid of this one. It's just too cluttered in that apex. Now, do I have too many branches in here? I think I do. Got like 3 branches growing from almost the same spot. I'm thinking of taking out one of them. I think it would be this middle one. I'm going to take it out. Like that. That cleans up that area a lot. You can see individual branch structure now. I've got a few hanging branches. I was going to decide about those. They're kind of nice because they come down at the same angle as the trunk, and otherwise there'd be kind of a big hole there. So I think I'll keep those. I'm wondering if I'm too fluffy looking in this area. I think I am. I'm going to start thinning it. Yeah, that definitely thins that area out. It's looking better there. A little more wind blown. I'm a little kind of thick in here. Yeah, I think some separation in here. So I think these branches need to come out. Tough cutting this stuff off. Is that going to come out? Oh. Yeah, this one can come off. I have another look from the front. Yeah, I still need some separation in this area here. Would it look better without that entire branch? I think it would. I'm going to take this branch off. It's gone. Just too cluttered in that area. Just reducing the stub back where that branch was coming from. Like that. Yeah, I think that'll look better. Now a little more separation there. Yeah, a little bit of thinning in this area so you get, yeah, some branch separation so it doesn't look like a big ball of foliage. So I think that's looking much better. I think it has a more of a wind-blown feel to it. Looks a bit more mature, that you can see the branch structure. It's not just like balls of foliage. And that'll fill in quite quickly over the summer. So there'll be more pruning coming to it. Here's a look at how much foliage I took off today. So there's the pile, and here's what's left on the tree. So I would say I'm pretty close to taking half the foliage off the juniper. So let's have a look at the tree now. I'll rotate it around so you can see it from all angles. So here is the current front of the tree, and I'll rotate around to the right hand side, around to the back of the tree, around to the left hand side, and back to the front. From the top view, you can see, the structure of the branches, how you can see they're all getting light. So I think it'll, keep the tree really healthy as it grows in over the summer. And it's quite a cool looking tree now. It was a tricky tree to style in the beginning, and I made a lot of decisions. It's come a long way. And still got lots of work to go on it to make it better and better every year. I position my wind-blown trees on the bench so that the sun is always shining on the wind-blown side. So the branches tend to grow towards the sun, and that helps create your wind-blown form. These garden junipers really lend themselves well to clip and grow bonsai. You get lots of new shoots coming out all the time that you can choose your branches and slowly shape the tree over the years. And I think you'll end up with something that you're quite proud of in just a few years. 3 to 5 years, you'll have quite a nice looking juniper from garden stock. So that is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.